Welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 854 and Doubleshot number 748. Like I said in the last video, 2 Iron Man trades. And this, since I have both of them in here, and this is a complete storyline, why not talk about both of them? It's Iron Man Volumes 2 and 3, The Secret Origin of Tony Stark, Books 1 and 2. And yes, this is written by Kieron Gillen, artwork by Greg Land, Dale Englesham, and Carla Pagalian. The last time I reviewed a trade from this era of Iron Man was 4 years ago. I checked. It was back in episode 89. Yeah. And that's something like, why did it take so long to do another Iron Man trade from Kieron Gillen's run? Because I could never get my hands on it recently. That's the only simple truth of it. This was a very controversial storyline when it was released. Yeah, these two trades collect issues 6 through 17 of Iron Man Volume 5. Well, you can kind of count this as Volume 6. Because, well, there's Vince Iron Man, that's kind of part of the numbering. Yeah, the first few issues in here have nothing to do with... It's pretty much set up for this particular storyline. Where Iron Man's out in space. I haven't think of Spider-Man 4. He's out in space, and the first 3 issues take place kind of like almost immediately after the events of AVX. And he's put on trial for what he did during AVX, where apparently he tried to kill the Phoenix Force and failed, and he's put on trial for it. And he points out, though, he did try to kill the Phoenix, and he failed. And yet these people were idiots. Though before this happened, he's hitting out a woman. He's basically flirting with the woman. He's like, hey, can I go to your place? It's like, sure. And then when he takes out his helmet to show his face, she's disgusted by seeing a man with his beard. Now, I'm seeing this recently. I'm like, did Kieron Gillen pull something out of Star Trek Insurrection with this? Yes, something very similar happened with this in Star Trek Insurrection, though at least yeah. Why do I point this out, though? Because there is a scene in Star Trek Insurrection, one of the few good scenes in the film, because the film was bad. We have Riker making out with Deanna Troi, and she says, yuck. And she says, I never kissed you in the beard before, and yuck? He says, get out. He says, I kissed you, and you say, yuck? I never kissed you in the beard before. I thought that was so funny. Now, here's something quite weird, though. Here's Iron Man's armor at the start of this storyline. Now, if you read the previous arc, you probably noticed that he had this armor right here on the left. This is his armor he had during this storyline. And it's chronologically, this storyline takes place before the events of the first 5 issues. Yep, chronologically it does. I don't know why Kieron Gillen did this for, but he did. And then pretty much like, there's a 3-month jump at the end of the storyline, and it's hinted at that his time with during the 10 issues he was involved with the Guardians, that pretty much are thrown in there. Yeah. And there's the stuff with Secret Tony Stark is simply what's the cause of his birth anyways. And there's his robot named Magellan Recorder 451, which is a nod to an old documentary from Michael Moore. Yep, that's what 451 is. Yeah, and it's just, he mentions that in a flashback he met Howard Stark, and he also had to get Howard had to get him out of this custody of these great aliens who run this casino called Area 52, and he assembles a team, a very interesting team, mind you. Oh yeah, and also in this story, in these issues, we have freaking Death's Head show up in here. Yes, Death's Head. Those of you who don't know, who the heck is Death's Head? He was a character show back in the 80s, in issue in Marvel's Transformers, the UK one. Yeah, the reason why he has to show up in the UK one because Marvel liked this character. I think he kind of made his debut there, but he's making his first American appearance in Doctor Who comic. And the reason why they did it because Marvel wanted to keep him. Because they love the character so much. Yeah, and also when Maria Stark was pregnant with their child, he tried to go various places to help the child. He goes to California. He goes to London. He goes to Tibet, which there's mentioning about the 7 cities of heaven. He goes to visit a High Evolutionary, which is like, how the heck did he know High Evolutionary exists? Last Chance Bar. There's the aliens. Now here's the team he basically assembles to free the Regillian. When he rescues 451. He gets Jimmy Woo, the bear. This is her first appearance. Nessa the kitten. Card Shark. Of course, Jimmy Woo's FBI, Bear's Demolitions. Dum Dum Dugan. Lieutenant Thunderbolt Ross. Not General Thunderbolt Ross. This is Lieutenant General Ross. This is Lieutenant Ross. Yep. That picture there, that's our first appearance of the bear. The character later reappeared in the pages of Mighty Avengers. Johnny Woo. Really great character. Yeah, later on he was revealed to have been part of the FBI originally. Now he was really part of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's great that they include Dum Dum Dugan here and Thunderbolt Ross. At least those two are more familiar with a lot. Like casual viewers might know who these two people are. Dum Dum Dugan because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and because he's associated with Nick Fury. Ross because of the Hulk comics. Jimmy Woo, unless you're a hardcore comic reader, you have no idea who this character is. Yeah. And 451 makes a deal with Tony Stark. Free him and he'll help him basically help his child. Which he does. And that happens just in the first, first half of the story. Yep. And this kind of leads into, and the reason why he's telling about this, because he wants the command of this gigantic armor, which, according to Tony Stark, is 5 miles high. Yep. What is this thing? It's called the God Killer. That's what it looks like a holographic image. This thing is huge. Tony Stark does kind of take a pilot. Yeah. Here's a good look at a 2-page spread. Yeah, this is a 2-page spread that works. Because this thing is 5 miles high. It's huge. Yeah, it's a gigantic armor meant to kill gods. And so he sends out a mission to... He sends the... 451 sends this thing out to destroy a planet. And he kills the planet. He destroys the planet that Tony Stark went to in the first few issues of the storyline. And he takes things to Earth... And then, of course, 451 himself actually dies in the penultimate issue of the storyline. And eventually, Tony Stark goes back to Earth, has his birthday party, when he gets used to Pepper Potts' fiance, Marco. By the way, he doesn't return after this, surprisingly. I don't think he does. Because he just appears this one time. He's basically Pepper's fiance. Because, of course, he kind of guessed he might be Pepper's boyfriend. And, of course, Pepper shows off her shiny toy, her engagement ring. Like, oh... fiance, and Tony Stark nearly coughs out his own birthday cake. He goes off to look at paperwork. Apparently, his parents were lying to him. And then came the most controversial thing about this storyline. Let me talk about this particular thing. It was revealed that the whole baby thing in the flashback was not Tony at all. It was another character altogether named Arnold Stark. Tony Stark's brother. And Tony Stark found out about something that, for a lot of people, well, at least for a few people I know of, they dropped this book. And I think that Marvel either didn't care that the sales were slipping for one of their cash cow books because of this revelation. The fact that Tony Stark was adopted. Yes. This little factoid drove people away from the book. I didn't like it. I didn't drop the book. I still read the book despite this stupid thing to happen. I'm not sure why Gillian thought this was a good idea. And then Bendis, when he got it a few years ago, I'm sure he had probably just didn't like it at all, but there's that. The first book is really good. Everything is good with the second book up until that ending of the storyline. Yep. I'm going to give the first book 9.5 out of 10. Second book, coming with a 8.5 out of 10. Yep. So, that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my 2 manga reviews and my 4 anime reviews. Okay? Back to you next review. Bye.